Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about an unusual topic. Are American tabletop role-playing game designers American heroes? I'm going to posit the answer is yes. Let's talk about it. All right, here we go. So, first of all, why am I even talking about this subject today? Well, one of the reasons why is the year 2020 and year 2021 are really unprecedented in American history since 1918, right? We've had to go inside. There was this event. It put everybody inside, and it changed the way we're interacting with people. The moment that happened, the American definition of an American hero changed, right? So one of the things is in America, when you use the term hero, I think it's like if you went to 2015, what would the definition of that be? Well, it's a pretty narrow definition. And if you asked most Americans, what's an American hero? They would say, oh, well, an American hero is a police officer or a firefighter, Pretty much first responders, right? Oh, also soldiers, firefighters, police officers, soldiers. Okay, and almost nobody would argue with any of those categories, right? They were set in stone. Okay. Then the 2020 event, the March 2020 event happened, and essentially people were like, well, wait, the idea of an American hero is much broader now. Nurses, and EMT, and people who are helping people to get in and out of hospitals, right? Also, truck drivers. Like, we're like, oh my gosh, the logistics are so important right now. Everybody needs all these different things, right? We need food, we need water in different places. If these truck drivers don't do their jobs, we're all done, right? And so there was a broadening of the definition of American hero to specifically to nurses, EMT, and truck drivers. Okay. Now, I'm a big political wonk, and I watched the 2020 political campaign very, very carefully. And one of the most incredible things I had ever seen happened in the 2020. It happened in November. It happened in November 2019, and so Bernie Sanders was a U.S. presidential candidate. He was trying to win the Democrat nomination, and he had a heart attack. He had a heart attack in the middle of his presidential run, and he did not say that it was disconnected. He said, I was not listening to my body. I was stupid, and he gave very clear evidence that in his own speech that his run had been directly connected to his having a heart attack, right? So you have a presidential candidate who has a heart attack in the middle of his campaign, right? In the middle of his campaign to be president. A week and a half later, he's on the campaign trail. Everybody's like, what? Like 10 days later, and you're on the campaign trail again? This could this could cause a life exit for you, right? And there were multiple people who were like, American hero. Like, this is civil service to the point of sacrifice, right? American hero, right? Many people brought that word forward, right? That term forward for Bernie. So what I'm saying is, okay, the gates are open, right? Like, you could say, okay, this profession is now eligible for the term American hero to be applied to it. I think we should apply the term hero to tabletop role-playing game designer. Why? Why on earth should you say a tabletop role-playing game designer is equal in stature to a U.S. soldier, right? Or a police officer, or a firefighter, right? And by the way, this is, different countries, I think, value these roles in different ways, and so all this is American specific. Just because I'm American, unfortunately, I apologize. I've never traveled. I don't know how other roles are varied. And so, if this isn't your experience in your country, that's why this is American specific. Because I don't want to overreach. I do feel like I understand our culture, but I'm not positive I understand European culture or many other cultures to the point where I could make this supposition apply in those nations as well. But I think an American tabletop role-playing game designer absolutely should be considered an American hero today. The same as a nurse, the same as a politician, the same as a firefighter. Why? Well, here you go. A few reasons. Guardians of print. Okay, I think that the written word, words printed in books, physical paper books, are the most powerful communication vector humanity has ever created. Right, and tabletop role-playing games are one of the few industries that are still incredibly dedicated to print books. It is considered a badge of honor if your book is in print. It is considered a badge of honor if your book can be picked up at the one last chain bookstore in America, Barnes & Noble. Zweihander is the most latest tabletop role-playing game to be broadly available in Barnes & Noble stores. If you walk into an American Barnes & Noble store, you can buy the nearly 600-page print Zweihander tabletop role-playing game. Right? It's one of the last tabletop role-playing games to have that. Right? Print is an incredibly important communication vector to humanity. And tabletop role-playing game designers are American tabletop role-playing game designers are guardians of print, saying we're going to try to continue to keep print relevant. That's huge. It's important, right? I think it's a benefit that goes to the broad American culture. Right? Why else? So in addition, they are champions against screen time. Okay, many American tabletop role-playing game designers, the best of them, remember Gary Gygax. Gary Gygax created a game where human beings would sit around a table with a few books and would not need a single screen, right? Our lives are now trying to escape screens. We have screens on us constantly, right? We have screens pointed at us. We have screens that we're looking at. Our lives are screens, right? And more people are understanding, maybe I should go shoot archery. Maybe I should ride a bicycle. Maybe I should go for a hike. Maybe I should go talk with my friend physically, right? We should communicate, and I could be there if that person is hurting or, something like that. And so tabletop role-playing games are making a space where it fights against humans putting another hour on a screen, right? Whether that screen is a computer, whether that screen is a tablet, whether that screen is a big screen television. These screens are incredibly helpful to us, but I don't think anyone is saying that we haven't reached a point where the screens are too much in our lives. And so American tabletop role-playing gamers are creating a viable, useful space where screens stop. Those two things alone are so valuable in American culture that I think it warrants saying that American tabletop role-playing game designers are American heroes. That's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that giving those two cultural benefits is enough to warrant that title? I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.